Hi everybody and welcome to the Stretty News TV review of Villa and looking forward on to Bruges as well. Joined by a few people today. We've got Alex, Barry, Hayley and Pasha. We're going to be discussing all the previous from the match on Friday night, nice and different, and we're going to be looking forward to Tuesday night's Champions League qualifier at Old Trafford. We'll touch quickly on the Villa match. We saw Januzaj come into the squad, which I thought was a nice surprise. Ashley Young dropped to the bench. What did you think, Hayley? Do you think that's Januzaj's chance to prove, and how do you think he did?
I think Januzaj had. He took the goal well. I think that was probably a bit of a confidence boost for him, and I think that it was a bit unexpected having him sort of start a game. There was a few rumours actually earlier in the day before the lineup was announced. So although it wasn't so much of a shock because of the rumours that had went around, if you had sort of said the day before that he was going to start, I think everybody would have been massively shocked. And I think he did. I think he did okay. That's my honest that's my honest opinion on how he did. I think that at times he struggled to get into the game and to really cause problems to Villa. He's still young and he's clearly talented, but it's one of those things where we'd have to be patient with him, and he's not going to walk into a game like that, away at Villa and sort of light up the world. Essentially, he did a really good job at taking his opportunity. We've got a little bit of a lucky deflection off one of the defenders when he scored the goal. We needed a little bit of that luck for I suppose for his confidence. But there were better players on the pitch, and I think actually Van Gaal himself commented at full time that himself and actually Memphis as well weren't great at ball retention. So that's something he's picked up on. He's kind of, despite the goal, he did kind of publicly mention that against both him and Memphis, which, you know what Van Gaal's like. He doesn't shy away from things like that. He doesn't care, despite the fact those two guys are young. He'll still come out and say, look, great, you scored a goal, but you gave the ball away too often. So I think there's plenty to improve on. In my opinion, I don't think he'll start the next game. I think that Van Gaal has you'll get other opportunities, but I think that was that game, and I think against Bruges on Tuesday we'll probably see something else. I don't know what it's going to be, but I can't see Januzaj getting another start just yet. I think he's going to have to be patient this season.
Yeah, I thought he did well. I agree with you. I thought it was nice to see him get a shout up. There's a lot of rumours of him going out on loan. With the rumours of Pedro etc. coming in, do you think Januzaj would maybe do favour going on a loan, get a bit more game time, Pasha, or do you think keep him, give him the odd game, keep him training with our team and see how it goes?
I've said it previously. In order to be playing at the toughest level, we need depth in the squad. I don't think it's wise to send Januzaj on loan because we're lacking depth, especially in the up front. Right now we're stacking midfield, as we've seen. We've covered that position that they also could cover the back line too. I don't think Januzaj will go on loan just because he's also impressed. LVG has allowed him playing his preferred role in the number 10, as we saw against Barcelona during the preseason, how he impressed and basically took the soul out of Bartra in that match. So no, we do need Januzaj. He's a young lad, has so much potential. It's been a while that seeing a youngster coming through the ranks and impressing so much since class of '92 probably. So I still think he's going to be part of the team because we need depth when we're playing in the FA Cup, Carling Club, Champions League, for squad rotation in the EPL. So I don't see Januzaj going off, and he's still going to be part of LVG's plan. But once again, there's questions to need to be at. Is he trying to play a 4-2-3-1, or is he going to play a traditional 4-2-3 with three-man midfield? There's so many questions to be asked and stuff like that. But I still think he's part of his plans. I just don't see him getting loaned out just because we need squad rotation, we need depth. But I don't think he's going to be a regular starter. That's why we're buying Pedro, and just depends on what LVG is looking at it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Keep him for some of the cup games, maybe get him a bit of experience in the team. Now, one of the biggest talking points I think from the Villa game was Wayne Rooney. He came under quite a lot of criticism. His first touch was off. I think Ian Wright said on Match of the Day, he shouldn't be playing number 9 at this point in his career. United should probably be in the market for an out-and-out striker, either Rooney playing off him or what happens to Rooney, really. What did you think of the situation, Alex? Do you think everyone's right criticising him, or do you think it's too early in the season and everyone should back off him a little bit?
He was pretty poor, wasn't he? Going back to what Ian Wright said, I think he also said that he had 42 touches in the game, and only 1 touch was in the opposition's penalty area. I don't think Rooney's solely to blame for that, because our tactics obviously doesn't seem to be to get in the opposition's penalty area at the moment. It seems to be keep the ball. I agree with what Ian Wright said. He sort of lacks that pace now. I think what you got to remember with Rooney, he's been playing sort of the highest level of football since he's 16 years old. So he's probably now sort of got the body of a 34, 35-year-old at the age of 29. He's definitely lost that yard of pace, and you can see that, and he struggles to get in behind the defence. Saying that, if we don't create chances for him and he's not going to score, that stat about only having 1 touch in the opposition's penalty area, well, he had to drop deep quite a lot of times to come and get the ball, so he's not going to get touches in the sort of penalty area if we don't get the ball into it for him. Speaking truthfully about it though, we're not going to win the title if we don't sign a striker. Rooney's obviously our best option, but if he gets an injury, which he undoubtedly will, he gets an injury every season. We've got Javier Hernandez up there. Now he can't hold up the ball, and he relies on pace and making runs for through balls, and we don't play any through balls. So if Rooney gets an injury, I don't see who we've got there to hold up the ball. It is early in the season to criticise him. His record speaks for itself. He's going to be United's all-time highest goal scorer. He's going to be England's all-time highest goal scorer. So the guy does know how to score goals. But if you don't get the service to him, and he's struggling with his pace anyway, I think we're in a bit of trouble with him, to be honest.
Yeah, it was disappointing, some of his touches. I can appreciate if he's not getting the service, then we can pick holes in other areas of the field. But some of the basics of football, taking touches, he was knocking them away 10 yards and giving the ball away. That is basics. So I think for some of it, he did deserve criticism. He said, his record speaks for himself. He's now club captain, and do you think? Well, a few people have said, do you think now he's captain, Barry, that he's lost, the fire in his belly, and he's kind of using that to just glide on through? There's no fight from him anymore?
Look, firstly, I've got to say that his performance against Aston Villa was abysmal. He really played very badly. But if you look at Rooney's career, he gets his goals in bursts. He may go a few games he doesn't score, and then he'll get a run where he scores a lot of goals. In his defence, he had very poor service in this game against Villa, and I think that's ably evidenced by the fact, as has been touched on, that he had 1 touch in the penalty box in the 93rd minute. So I think it's a bit premature to be calling for his head. I don't think that he's resting on his laurels being the club captain. But what bothered me on the night is he just didn't look focused on the game. And it's crying out for another striker to be in the team. I like Rooney. I'd like to see Rooney playing as the number 10 behind an out-and-out striker. And if we don't sign another striker, I don't see how we can challenge for the league, because Rooney inevitably does get a couple of injuries during the season, and one wonders where we will be left to rely on James Wilson and Chicharito, whose future looks undecided. So a striker is mandatory, but I think a bit early to be criticising and calling for Rooney's head. Let's give it another couple of games.
Yeah, it's only early at the end of the day. 2 games in, 6 points, 2 clean sheets. We'd have taken that at the beginning of last season when things weren't going as well. Talking about clean sheets, we've had a bit of controversy with Blind. We touched on this last week, but he's pulled off another clean sheet and was actually Gary Neville's man of the match, which I was happy to see, because he got a lot of stick, and maybe undeserved stick just because of his height, although he is quite dangerous aerially. Maybe his pace is going to be the worry going forward if he stays. What do you think to Blind, Hayley, and if not Blind, where do you think our strong defender's going to come from?
I think with Blint, he's a very versatile player, as we all know. He's played, filled in at left back last season, did a really good job behind Shaw. Well, he actually probably played as many games as Shaw due to Shaw's actual injuries last season. He was particularly good against City there. Obviously, he played the majority of games in kind of a midfield role. He's now kind of been thrown into this centre-back position. He's one of those players that 100% he's played because not only is he clever, but he 100% gets what this is that Van Gaal is preaching to the players on a daily basis in training and everything else. He is behind that 100%, and he gives everything for the manager and speaks so highly of him. So Van Gaal undoubtedly absolutely loves Blint, and it's almost a case of, I've got to get him into the team. He's seen a sort of spot at centre back there and thought, I think Blint can fulfil that at the moment. And you've got to say, so far, 2 games in, he's been proved, yes, that he can do a job there, absolutely. The manager has been right on that call. Now, what you've got to look at is he going to be able to fulfil that against more difficult teams, the likes of the Crystal Palace away, and then you've got to start talking about playing the likes of sort of Chelsea, City, Arsenal, and that's where the kind of need or want for another centre back comes in. Somebody top drawer. I'm not going to go into the whole Otamendi thing. He's gone, he's done whatever. Possibly will we look at Stones, somebody who will probably be similar money, who's not at at that level at the moment, but in actual fact, he's a lot younger by far. So you'd get a lot more years out of him. That's something as a possibility. But at the moment, Blint's done a good job. He had a lot of stick before he even kind of got going. Last week before it was our first game of the season, we played. It's too late at night. Whoever our first game of the season was, having a complete mind blank. Literally won't come to me in the slightest. Anybody? Who the hell did we play last week? Actually can't think at the minute. Who?
Spurs.
Jesus.
Spurs.
It's been a long day. He did a decent job there. Wasn't it's no nonsense. It's not spectacular. He's doing what's required. And again against Villa, Gary Neville was right. The whole team, midfield and defence, just completely nullified Villa. And although we were very poor in terms of actual chances created, it was not a pretty sight. They didn't get a sniff. And all credit to the defence between the lot of them: Darmian, Smalling, Blint, Shaw, and of course, Romero's done a good job as well. At the end of the day, he's kept 2 clean sheets, and something that the experienced Czech and Courtois and Begovic today have not managed. So he's got to get credit there. But would I like to see somebody else come in? Of course, but not. If it was a choice between striker, any day of the week, I would absolutely look at. I would much rather have a striker and attacker at the moment than bring a centre back in, because that's where we're lacking. That's going to win us the league, or it's going to be the kind of make or break for me. Without going into too much, because I know we've skipped on from Rooney. It's just so worrying. I don't know if anybody else has picked up on some of the stats, but Rooney has had 1 goal in an away match since March 2014. One away goal since March 2014. When you hear that, you just think, fuck, what if he gets an injury? What if he's out for 3 months? Van Gaal doesn't even surely rate Hernandez that highly, or why did he send him out? I don't like to be pessimistic, but up top, you've got to think the manager's going, I need to get somebody, and if we don't, it shouldn't be for want of trying. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Rooney's worrying, definitely, but it's not just form, it's the fact that he's not going to play 50 games. That's the reality. Even if he's out for 2 months, you're looking at 8 to 10 games, possibly, if you count Champions League, etc., with somebody needed in. So we need to pull Merkel out, really, up top. I have no idea who could possibly come. No idea at all.
I find it quite funny how at the beginning of the season everyone was freaking out about our defence, and after 2 games that's quite quickly changed now to our chances, because on paper I think you look at you know, our kind of attacking line, and it should be challenging to create some of the best chances. Some people are putting this down to Van Gaal's philosophy, that we're too slow and it's not utilising our, you know, our pace that we have in the team. But I do find it quite funny how from beginning of season everyone going nuts about Blind and our, you know, Phil Jones and our defensive options, and now the worry has turned to our strike force.
One thing I was going to add, I don't know how you guys feel, but I personally don't think that's a new thing. I think that the end of last season, the last probably sort of 5 games or so after we went on our brilliant run where we beat Spurs, Liverpool, City, I think after that we actually really struggled for goals there as well. And I think we ended up getting like something quite poor, like we didn't score against Chelsea, we didn't score against Everton, we got beat against, we ended up dropping points again. Got 1 goal against Arsenal. So this was something that was flagged up at the end of last season that needed to be addressed. Hence, obviously, Memphis is coming. We're looking at Pedro, who I think will happen. But yeah, you got to be looking at a striker in honesty. It's kind of a must. I read another stat which I found interesting but worrying. Apparently, last season, I don't know if this is all of last season, but Rooney only averaged 1 shot on target per game. Just the one, I think it might have been 1 shot on target was what he was getting at the end of last season in those games, which for your out and out striker, your main man up top, you've got to be getting more than 1 shot on target. It's just not enough.
Yeah, well, I think with the window not being shut yet, I think there's still going to be a bit to happen. Everyone's freaking out with the latest. I think Gillan Ballards just tweeted that Otamendi to City is going to be announced tomorrow or something along those lines. Do you think we've missed out on him, Pasha, or do you think, you know, we were never in for him? That's some of the rumours, or do you think there's better options out there, or where do you think we stand with this whole Otamendi situation?
I mean, even with a striker option, there's not many options left. Honestly, if you know, Otamendi, you know, he was one of my brother watches La Liga, and he was absolute class last season. You know, he reminds me a lot about Nemanja Vidic when it comes to being a warrior-esque and intimidating players and putting his body on the line. Yes, we've missed out on him and stuff, but once again, you got to think about the context of LVG's philosophy. LVG loves center backs that are ball-playing center backs. Now, what do I mean by that? That's why we were so linked heavily with Matt Hummels, because everything starts from the back, from the goalkeeper. If you look into his philosophy, he always doesn't say the formation is a 4-2-3-1. He always says the 4-1-4-2-3-1, because it always starts from the goalkeeper and to the back. That's why he always likes a ball-playing center back. Could Otamendi be that kind of center back? Watching him that much? Not so much, but he's still that kind of bastard that we need in defense. And coming, we've had missed out, but once again, looking at bringing in Schweinsteiger, having Michael Carrick, Schneiderlin, the coverage those guys are going to be helping with the back four is going to be tremendous. There's going to be times throughout the season that we might actually potentially see Carrick playing at center back with the amount of depth that we're going to have. Is that wise? No. You know, once again, it's LVG. We all knew before he came he's going to be stubborn like that. That's just the way a man is. If he's giving contract extensions to Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, Tyler Blackett, you know, it just goes on to tell you that he trusts these guys, right? And it's always great to see that he's relying on youngsters too. But in order to compete on the toughest level, you know, I don't want to see Johnny Evans starting anymore. I'm honestly fed up with Johnny Evans, you know? And I think you all would agree with that. It's just that I'm happy with Chris Smalling, but, you know, with the Otamendi thing, it's not end of the world, as Haley touched upon before the show started. But I have another thing I do want to talk back is about Daley Blind. I think Daley Blind for LVG is more of a player as a toolbox that either could come in as a left back, in the center mid, or as center back. One thing that people don't see in the bigger picture is that he's just playing there because Rojo just came back from Copa America and the guy is not match fit. That's why he slotted Daley Blind there, you know, as opposed to cover his position. As we all know, in the right foot and the left foot combination, that's just his philosophy. So there's always a meltdown of why Daley Blind is starting. It's because of that. He simply likes it right footed and left footed, you know. We all might not agree with that, but that's just the guy, the way he is. So that's why I think he's playing there until Rojo comes back. But he's done a great job so far of taking his position. But it's not the end of the world. And the thing with the striker position is that it doesn't matter how much we spend. Lewandowski will never come and sit on Man United's bench knowing Wayne Rooney is striker. So going back to that, I think that's why we brought Pedro too, because he's a multi-functional player that either could play as a striker or as a winger. So you got to think about that too. And Chicharito as backup. So I think that we're not going to go in the transfer market and buying a striker. I think Pedro is going to be that player that we're going to use as a striker or as a winger. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of different rumours going around, and I don't like getting caught up in it too much. For everybody watching, by the way, we want everyone to be involved in this and asking questions for the guys on either the game against Villa, Bruges, or transfers as well. We've had quite a few questions come in already. I'm just going to put some of them across to the panel now just to see the thoughts. We've already covered a few of them, so if I don't shout it out, it's just because we've already kind of touched on the basis of your question. Something we have kind of touched on this is from Steve Brown, and he said, how bad has our captain got to be before he is dropped? Alex?
Well, the fact that we haven't got any other striking options means he's probably resting on his laurels a bit, which I don't think it helps. We could all see how poor he played against Villa, but when you've got no other strikers to really give him much competition, then that's what happens. Last year, we had, on paper we had 3 world-class strikers, so it keeps players on their toes. And we did see Rooney have a few, his standard bursts of form last season. I think Rooney's biggest problem, I think I saw a tweet about it the other day, when he plays as like his natural sort of street footballer sort of instinct, the way he played when he was 16-year-old on the streets, in the streets in Liverpool, that natural sort of street footballer about him, he's a great player. Under Van Gaal likes to make a simple game very complicated sometimes, and I think possibly Rooney is suffering from that. I know Van Gaal, he gives the players a lot of instructions, and they're in a very sort of rigid formation. They've got to listen to exactly what he wants to do, his philosophy. And I think Rooney's one of those players who sort of struggles with that. He goes onto the field and he's got sort of too much in the back of his head. He can't move wide, he can't come deep. He's got to stay in this rigid position. I think he struggles. So I do think Rooney is going to have a poor season, and he's not going to get the 20 goals we might need. So can we drop him? Of course we can drop him, but if we haven't got anyone to sort of bring into the side in place of him, then we can't drop him. So again, it goes back to the problem. If we don't buy a striker, then no, we can't drop Rooney.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't drop him. I think he can always probably shoot himself in the foot, but he can always get us a goal when it's important. I know he hasn't really done that so far, but we have been winning the game. Maybe shoot himself in the foot with that one, but maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe he is undroppable, and you never know. You don't know. We'll move on from him anyway. The next question we have from Mr. Chamaria. He says he feels that Louis van Gaal's style of football is ruining the United style of football that we had under Alex Ferguson. Do you agree with this, Barry?
I think if you look at the typical way, you get this comment, playing the United way. So the United way, going back through history, has been to play at pace with wide players creating chances for strikers. We've moved away from that tremendously. And, if you think back, not all that long ago, you think back to about 2008, when you had the likes of Ronaldo, Tevez and Rooney in the team playing with incredible amounts of pace. This is not the Van Gaal way, and this word philosophy keeps cropping up. It's his word, but we've all cottoned onto it. So if you look at the way United play, I think he's almost engendered a fear into the team of losing the ball. It goes right back to the goalkeeper. If you looked at how Romero played in his first game, his distribution was awful. And clearly he had instructions to make sure he gave the ball to one of his defenders. Yes, he's grown into the role slightly. And it's very unusual now that you see anybody at the back clearing the ball, hoofing it up the field. They try and play their way out of trouble. Now, if you're going to play your way out of trouble, if you're going to play the passing game from the back, you need to be able to pass like Barcelona pass. And forgive me for saying so, but as good as Chris Smalling has been this season, he can't pass like Gerard Piqué passes. And we don't have players that can do that. But that's the way that Van Gaal is trying to play. It's ably evidenced by the fact that in 180 minutes of football, we've had a total of 3 shots on target and a handful of others that were off target. So there's no pace in the team whatsoever. It's the slow build-up. And what that does is it allows the opposition to get back in numbers, and I think this is where Rooney is suffering tremendously. So yes, we are suffering a change in style. We United purists like to see pace. Under Van Gaal, I don't think we're going to see it. I think this is the type of football that we're going to see. And this is why when you see a guy like Herrera coming onto the field, it's almost like injecting a breath of fresh air, because he's one of few players in the team that plays at pace. And I, for one, in the Villa game, I was most unhappy with the 2 holding midfielders, Schneiderlin and Carrick. I thought they were both very, very laboured. And yes, they are going to protect the back 4. And coming back to Daley Blind looked okay in those games, but Daley Blind against a striker like Lukaku or Diego Costa, I think, would struggle tremendously. But I agree with what Pasha says, that we're going to see a lot of chopping and changing at the back, playing out a defence. I would like to see a real thug at the back who imposes himself and who's a leader at the back. If you look in United's history, you look at players like Bruce, Stum, Vidic, we don't have anybody like that at the back. But going back to the original question, the Van Gaal way is the slow build-up, and I think we're in for this type of play for as long as he is in charge of the team. If he gets results, we will extol the virtues of this style of play, and we'll love it. If we don't win any trophies, we'll criticize it. And of course, he's gone on record as saying that he doesn't see himself lasting longer than what his contract is, that he's going to quit at the end of that time. So if we get another manager after him, are we going to see a change in philosophy? So that'll be interesting to see.
I have to admit, although, you know, I do back Van Gaal completely, it's not great watching. The games when they're like that, it isn't the United way. Well, it is nowadays, but it isn't how we used to play. I do miss, you know, up the wings in the box, that kind of play. So I suppose maybe that'll come once there's a bit of confidence in the team. Maybe he'll change things depending on results, but yeah, I don't know, maybe we've just kind of got to learn, you know, his style and get around it. But someone I absolutely adore, and I think so far he is the signing of the summer, is Darmian. I've had a question from someone asking about, you know, what you guys think of the impact on him. I thought I was absolutely howling when he was distracting Micah Richards with something on his face. Now I thought that was absolutely genius. Do you think do you think he's the signing of the summer, Hayley? What do you think his impact's been and will be for United going forward?
Without putting a curse on the poor lad and banishing him to failure after sort of the famous last words on the sign of the summer, yes, you know, 14 million in this day and age, it can't be understated how much of a bargain that is. You know, looking at that, if we paid 25 million for him because he was more well known, and I think the weird thing is he was, for a lot of fans, I'd known him and his reputation from Italy. I'd heard how good he was, but to be honest with you, I hadn't watched him week in, week out. I'm not going to say that I had. I just knew that he was really well thought of in Italy. But even if you had heard of him, most of our fans will not have watched him on a regular basis. So I think for a lot of people, even the ones that had heard how good he might be, it's just been such a hugely positive surprise. He's just, you know, if he continues this, absolutely a bargain, signing of the season for United, and who knows, potentially even in the Premier League if he keeps going the way he is. He's just, you know, Valencia did an okay job last season. You know, we don't want to be too unfair to him because he was a winger, came in, slotted into that position when we had nobody else, and he did all right for us. But if you compare with what it feels like now, having someone like Darmian to what we had last season, it's just, you feel so assured. He goes in to challenge, and you just think, yeah, he's going to get that, and he does nearly every single time. It's so nice to have that. What you mentioned about kind of touching his face, and it was strange to see from such a little lad almost to say, "I've got you, son. Watch it," and he did. A little bit naughty with the kind of pulling of the shirt, okay, but he is. It's just what about what Barry was saying about somebody who's a little bit of a bastard, which is, I think, as sweet as his baby face is, I think he has that in him, a little bit of a shit in him that's going to go, yeah, I'm on you, son, watch it, and that's what we need. Whether we can get that in centre back as well, or whether we can get Chris Smalling to kind of be a bit more nasty, we'll see. But it's just a breath of fresh air. In honesty, he's quite good. Not the best in the league, but he's not bad attacking wise. That side of his game, I believe, will grow. But at the end of the day, although you want your wing backs, your full backs to be able to attack, you need to be able to defend. And there's too much focus, I believe, nowadays goes into full backs who can get up the wing, but can't defend for Toffee. You don't want that, and it's making a huge difference, I believe. If Sean Darmian stay fit this year, which is I know is a big ask because Shaw had a lot of injuries last year, but if Sean Darmian stay fit this year, it's going to make a world of a difference to our defence overall. Huge, definitely.
Yeah, I absolutely adore him already. Like, I absolutely adore him. I think he's hilarious. I think he's quick, matches Shaw quite nicely up the wings. Like you said, he has got like a little bit of, like what you're saying, I've got you there. What I do like is he instills confidence into the team that, like you said, no one is getting past him. And we've seen that time and time again already. We're only two games into the season. Pasha, we've got another question come in, and this one's from Patrick. He says he wants you to talk about Schweinsteiger's influence on the team from coming off the bench and his prospects for the Champions League this year.
Schweinsteiger has basically won every single thing possibly that a football player wished to play. I mean, Schweinsteiger is basically such an influential player. We basically got Mr. Bayern Munich. That's how much they look up to us. That's how we look up to Ryan Giggs. As we saw when he came on, and the way he dictated the game, he controlled the tempo of the game, basically dominated the whole game against Villa. That's what we need. And so as soon as he came on, the way he just showed his leadership, pointing fingers where players to play, we need that. We need our youngsters, especially looking at long term for Schneiderlin. Schneiderlin needs somebody like him to look up to, in order to gain experience from him and do it for others. And that's the same thing again with Johnny Evans. Look at Chris Smalling where they've been, and we'll look at where Johnny Evans. So what I'm trying to say about Schweinsteiger, he is needed. He is such a big factor for us. It is an absolute world-class signing. There's nothing. He just prays. He basically is Mr. Bayern Munich, as they call him back in Munich. So his experience is needed in the Champions League if we're going to play in the knockout rounds. Hopefully, if we possibly make it. So, and for long-term, looking at Schneiderlin, he needs somebody experienced like that because Carrick might be retiring soon or leaving in 1 or 2 seasons. So he's a very great asset to our team. I still can't believe he's a United player because I still can't believe it. But he's an absolute worldly class of player. I'm delighted. And just look at how much passionate he is just being part of United. That's what you want to see. You don't see players playing for the badge these days. Everything is about money, plays for the money. That's just the reality of football this day. This man plays for the badge, and that's what you want to see with United players.
Yeah, he has been a fan favourite with all his tweets and stuff. He recently tweeted a picture of Januzaj, which will do Januzaj, the players like Januzaj, the world of good, learning off of him, although they don't play in the same position. His experience, I think, is going to be crucial. I mentioned in the last show that I loved when he came on. He's pointing, he's directing players, he's coming out as a true leader on the pitch, and he's only been with us 2 minutes. So, no, I am loving him, and I think if we do qualify for the Champions League, let's not count our chickens, that he will be absolutely crucial for United. So going on to the Champions League then, Bruges. Alex, do you know much about them? And if you do, let us know. And how do you think we're going to line up? Do you think we're going to see something similar to the past 2 games, or do you think he may mix it up a little bit?
I was hoping you wouldn't come to me. I know nothing about them. They're obviously the Belgian champions. So obviously, you know, they've got that winning mentality. I guess if they know the champions, they're going to be coming into the season with some confidence. So they might have quite a settled squad, which obviously we haven't got at the moment. So they obviously might be capable of causing us a few problems. When the draw came out, obviously on paper, they're one of what, you know, I think they're the one I picked, Rapid Vienna. You know, they're going to be the easiest draw for us, and we got that. So it's a game we should definitely be winning over 2 legs. You know, the fact we got the home leg first, we need to go into Tuesday night's game and actually attack them. If we play out we have been the last 2 games and sort of maybe get the 1-0 and shut up shop, just keep possession, we could be in some trouble when we go to Belgium, because if they go there only 1-0 down, they're going to have a home support behind them. It's going to be difficult. We need to get, you know, a bit of a winning margin on Tuesday. As for the team we play, I think you ought to keep the defence as it is. You kept 2 clean sheets. Why change it? We need to, you know, hopefully keep another clean sheet, keep the confidence building. Shaw and Darmian brilliant again against Villa, so why change any of that? In the centre midfield, I can see Schweinsteiger and Herrera coming in. Carrick can't do 2 games in a week now, surely at his age. Schneiderlin might start, but I think the fact that he seems to be sort of playing the 2 sort of pairs together, I think we'll see Herrera and Schweinsteiger play together, and I think Schweinsteiger's sort of European experience will be absolutely huge on Tuesday night, to be honest. I think Januzaj might get another start. Again, it seems a perfect game to play him in. You know, it's what we would, I suppose, on paper call a lesser team at home. So, you know, why not give Januzaj another chance to show us what he can do? Rooney's got to start because, as we keep saying, we haven't got many strikers. And then I think, yeah, pretty much the same as Villa. We can't rest on our laurels. If we rest too many players and don't get a comfortable win, then we could be in some trouble when we go to Belgium. Maybe we get a 2 or 3 goal sort of lead. When we go out to Belgium, we could try a few new faces in. But if Tuesday night, you know, the important thing is not to concede, because I think the away goals still count in the qualifying round. So if Bruges do score 1 or 2 goals, I'm sure they won't. But never say never with United these days. We could be in a bit of trouble.
Sorry to put that one on you. I don't think many of the fans know much about Bruges, but someone had to be asked. No, I do agree. I think our defence is going to be crucial for this game, and I think we need to get. You're right. We do need a couple of goals at least, so we're a little bit more comfortable going in. I would not feel comfortable against any team going in, you know, with 1-0 when we're going away to their stadiums with their support. I wouldn't feel comfortable, as strong as, you know, our defence could be and has been so far. I agree. We do need, the chances are going to be huge for us. We need to take them. I'm just going to quickly go back to Pasha. Actually, we were talking before the game. I was just trying to figure out if anyone knew any facts and figures about Bruges. He had something interesting about Fellaini, which I didn't actually know. So do you want to divulge on that one, Pasha?
Yeah, so, you know, their manager is Point Hugh. If sorry, you know, I'm Iranian, so the accent and anything, just apologies for that. So basically, Fellaini came to the ranks. That's just something that I've read on an article about, and interesting to that, that's how Moyes scouted him. And interesting enough, when I read the article, there was times that when we got Bruges, Fellaini texted the manager saying that good luck, and he texted back, you too. Takes him back, good luck to you too. So it's great to see that Fellaini obviously knows some insights about them and how they work about them. But I don't know personally anything about Bruges. I don't watch the Belgium league, besides maybe just know about Anderlecht. But yeah, that's the only thing I do know.
I think it's a good little fact. I think it's more than what we've got to play with anyway. Barry, do you agree with Alex on, you know, the lineup? Do you think we should do anything different? Would you keep Rooney in? Would you start a different striker? Would you give Chicha a chance? How would you play it, Barry?
Yeah. Well, firstly, just a couple of other points on Club Brugge. They do have a European history because they probably rue the sight of Liverpool, because Liverpool beat them in the old European Cup and in the UEFA Cup finals, 1978 and 1976 respectively. and they're the second to Anderlecht in terms of trophies in Belgium. So they do have some history, but not in recent years. In terms of, I agree in principle with most of what Alex has said. I don't think there's any ways that Wayne Rooney will be dropped for this game. He'll play. And I would hope that United put in a more attacking team against Bruges. I think the back five will probably stay the same because they've kept 2 clean sheets. I would like to see Herrera start the game because he offers pace. If Schweinsteiger is fit for 90 minutes, I think he may well start with Herrera, as Alex suggested, in the centre of midfield. If he's not completely fit, I would expect Schneiderlin to start there. And then I'd like to see 2 wide players of pace, namely Young and Memphis, and Mata playing behind Rooney. But coming back to Januzaj, I think that if you look at the way the team's going to be selected, there are about 7 places that are pretty much nailed down at the moment. The back 5, Rooney, Memphis, I think they're pretty much guaranteed. So there's going to be chopping and changing. And if you want to nurture a guy like Januzaj, I think to put him in for 1 game and then to drop him, I'm not sure what kind of message that sends out. So I probably would persevere with him in the number 10 role again at Old Trafford in front of his home fans. The other guy that we might see featuring is Fellaini, because remember that his suspension is for domestic games and not for European games. So there's the possibility that he'd be given a game. But I'd like to see a 4-4-2 formation with some attacking, and I'd like to see United go into the second leg with at least a 2 or 3 goal lead. But anything's possible, as Alex has alluded to.
Yeah, I forgot about Fellaini's suspension. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised, if we did let Fellaini have a shot in there, not for the full 90 minutes, and Rojo as well. Van Gaal's quite, well, he always goes on about match rhythm, and this might be the chance, depending on how the game's going, to get these players in, get them a bit of match fitness, especially Fellaini's not been able to do that because of his suspension. Maybe this will be the perfect chance for him. Maybe his height's going to cause them problems. I don't know. I really don't know anything about Bruges, if I'm completely honest.
We may see Fellaini playing in the number 10 role, in fact, behind Rooney.
Yeah, we've got quite a tricky situation, I think. Well, it's a good situation to be in, but a tricky one at the same time, where there's a lot of people arguing at who should play as the number 10. Depay's played there, Januzaj, Mata. Rooney could play there if we get another striker, because he's probably not going to get dropped to the bench. Hayley, who would you play in that number 10 role ideally? And if you count that we've got another striker, would you put Rooney in there?
Good question. I would like to see Mata given a go there, which is not going to happen because of what we've been talked about. Either give Mata a go there and have Memphis on the wing, or the problem is we've heard from Van Gaal just recently. Actually, I think it was just after the game, that the reason Herrera is kind of being sacrificed is because the number 10 role, as he sees it, in a 4-3-3, which, in my opinion, it's not really a 4-3-3 at all. It's more like a 4-2-3-1. He sees that number 10 position as like a second striker, which is why the likes of Herrera is being sacrificed, which is, it's not great in my opinion. We need Herrera to play. I think he should start, but that's another issue. Van Gaal has his reasons. So if someone like Herrera is not going to be able to play there because simply he doesn't fit, what Van Gaal wants there, then you've got to look at someone like either Mata potentially, or maybe Januzaj again. But it would be interesting to see Mata given that opportunity in the number 10 hole, because when was the last time he had a chance there? It was so long ago. You could then have potentially Memphis and Young on the wings, because moving forward, if Pedro happens next week or before the window as we expect, what are we moving forward to? Surely we're going to be moving forward to Pedro and Memphis in the wings anyway, and Mata in the hole, or else you're looking at Mata being benched, which is not what we want either. So should we be preparing for that, preparing for Pedro to come in and Mata to go into the middle? I would say yes. Otherwise, is Mata going to be dropped? I hope not. So interested to hear what anyone else thinks about that. If that would be a potential move, whether Mata will go in there or not.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if we do sign Pedro, I'd like to see Depay and Pedro on the wings and Mata in at number 10. But like you said, why is he not doing it now with Pedro and Young, Memphis and Young, and putting Mata at number 10 and just dropping Young eventually for Pedro? I don't know.
It's probably to do with the same reason that he had Memphis for the first couple of games in at the number 10 role. I'm not sure if he feels comfortable that Mata can fulfill that, which is a little worrying, because I don't know what he has planned for when Pedro comes in, whether he plans to just rotate Mata with Young and Memphis, and then maybe have, or maybe whether he plans to put Memphis back in the number 10 role and kind of just rotate Mata with Pedro and Young. And I don't know. It's a strange one, because Mata and Herrera were a big part of the period last season when we actually played good football. I know we keep talking about how it's disappointing that we're in this position where we're winning games, which is great, and we really can't complain too much. 6 points out of 6. Bar City, we're the only team that's done that in the top in last year's top 6. I know Liverpool's got to play tomorrow, but we did get our 2 wins. We've got 2 clean sheets, which is great, but it's not been great to watch. And we have played periods last season of exciting football where we beat Spurs 3-0. That was a great game. I was at that, and it was really enjoyable. We also played, we beat Liverpool 3-0. We were a bit more shaky at the back and probably should have conceded more, or conceded any, in fact, if it wasn't for De Gea. The City game was unbelievable. 4-2 kind of flattered them a bit. Could have been a lot more. We have played attacking football. Mata and Herrera were a big part of those games, so I wouldn't like to see them miss out all season. I suppose with Champions League, assuming, fingers crossed, everything goes well against Bruges, that we qualify. There's going to be a lot of games coming up, but I think we need the likes of Mata and Herrera to be playing a lot. If not starting every game, that they're getting plenty of minutes. Herrera's kind of featured off the bench a bit, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because Herrera, we all kind of, it almost became a running joke on Twitter where every time the lineup was announced, where the freak's Herrera? Capital letters, everyone was going mad, week after week, and eventually he played him and couldn't drop him then, because Herrera was that good. Everyone was saying, well, why have you not been playing him? You've got to play him. And is it going to get to that game? Is Herrera going to have to play his way back in by proving himself in the little time he gets? Possibly. But at the minute, he's not starting, is he? And it doesn't look like that dramatically going to change anytime soon. I hope I'm wrong, though. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Herrera. I love his passion for the club. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why he is one of the fan favourites and why everyone is so upset. He's not as not as known, but as experienced as Schweinsteiger, but yet people are still calling him into midfield. So that speaks volumes for what he can do for our club, I think. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Hayley. I'm just going to wrap this up because I think we don't know too much about Bruges. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Who plays, I don't know. Maybe, like we said, a few people might get another chance, or he's going to keep it exactly the same. I'm just going to go down the line. I'll start with Pasha. Score prediction. Not knowing anything about the team we're playing.
Score prediction. First leg, probably 2-1, honestly.
Okay, Alex. Score prediction.
Okay, it's got to be 1-0, isn't it? That's what we do best. I hope not, but I bet you it is 1-0.
Yeah, I agree. I hope not as well. Barry, anything different?
Yeah, 3-0 to United. I think we're going to whip them.
Hayley?
Barry stole my thunder. I was about to say, hang on, I'm going to be optimistic and go 2-0, not 1-0. But Barry's got right ahead of me there. So I'll meet Alex and Barry in the middle and go 2-0. Clean sheet.
I've gone for the same as Barry. Actually, I've gone 3-0. I think United are going to pull it out the bag. I think from what I've read about Bruges, they're going to be weaker than us. We're at Old Trafford. Champions League's different at Old Trafford. We all know that. So I think it could be a big win for United at home. But I hope I'm not eating my words and getting tweeted a load of crap from people midweek. Has anybody got any final points to add? Going into Bruges. Anything else?
It's in Belgium, just in case anybody wanted to know. Less known fact. It's in Belgium. FYI. That's my knowledge on the subject. Sorry.
I'd like to add that on the bench, I'd like to see the likes of Pereira and James Wilson. And if things are going well, or if things are going badly, and we need an injection of youth or pace, I wouldn't mind seeing these youngsters used in this game.
Pasha, did you have something to add there?
No, but thank you for giving us a boy that could do anything from Belgium. That's about it.
It's going to be a good game, that's for sure. If you agree with what everyone's saying or disagree, let us know in the comments, and we'll be reading them through, maybe tweeting back to a few of you from the Stretty News account. Make sure you follow us. You can see it on the screen there. Apart from that, hope for the win at the weekend, and we'll see you next Sunday at 9. Thank you.